Caleb Turner heard the vultures before he saw the body. The sound came low over the dry Texas land, like broken hinges crying in the sky. Caleb stopped near his fence with one hand on his old rifle and the other on the reins. The sun burned the back of his neck. Dust stuck to his lips. Then his horse pulled back hard. There was a man lying in the dirt. At first, Caleb thought the man was dead. His coat was torn. His face was covered in sand. Blood had dried black on his side, and one hand was curled around nothing, like he had been reaching for help that never came. Caleb looked toward the empty trail. No riders. No wagon. No sound except wind, flies, and the soft creak of Caleb's saddle leather. Caleb's jaw tightened. "Trouble always finds the gate," he said. He should have turned around. That was the safe thing. A wounded man in the desert did not come alone. A gunshot wound meant someone had fired the gun. And if Caleb took the man home, whoever shot him might follow. But the stranger moved. Just one finger. Small. Weak. Almost nothing. Before we continue, if you are new on this page, please comment where you are listening from and follow for more interesting stories. Let's continue. Caleb cursed under his breath and got down from his horse. "Don't you die on my fence," he said, though his voice was harder than his hands. The man's lips cracked open. No words came out, only dry air. Caleb bent close and smelled blood, sweat, and hot dust. The man was young, maybe near 30. His beard was rough. His skin was burned by the sun. A dirty hat covered half his face. Caleb pulled the hat away. Then Caleb froze. The man had a thin scar near his left eyebrow. Caleb's own chest went tight. He knew that scar. His son, Samuel, had gotten a scar just like that when he was 7, after falling from the barn ladder. Caleb had carried him inside while Samuel cried into his shirt. Caleb's wife, Mary, had washed the cut with shaking hands. But Samuel was dead. Samuel had been dead for 25 years. Caleb stepped back like the ground had opened under him. "No," he whispered. "No, that ain't possible." The stranger gave a weak cough. Blood touched his lips. That sound forced Caleb to move. Caleb lifted the man under the arms. The body was heavy, hot, and limp. Caleb's old knees almost gave out, but he dragged him to the horse anyway. Every step pulled dust into Caleb's teeth. "You picked the wrong old man to die beside," Caleb muttered. "I don't bury strangers." But even as he said it, Caleb tied the man across the saddle and led the horse back toward the ranch house. The house sat alone in the heat, gray wood and broken shadows. The front porch leaned to one side. A water bucket stood near the door. Beside it sat a tied bundle of clean clothes. Mrs. Chen had brought the laundry. Caleb saw her small note pinned to the cloth. "Mr. Turner, you cannot keep living like the dead. Pay when you can." Mrs. Chen Caleb tore the note off and pushed it into his pocket. His hands were shaking, and that made him angry. "Everybody wants to open old graves," he said. Inside the house, the air smelled of smoke, old coffee, and gun oil. Caleb laid the stranger on the table. The man groaned, and Caleb cut open the shirt with his knife. The wound was bad, but not deep enough to kill him yet. "Lucky fool," Caleb said. He poured whiskey over the wound. The stranger's body jerked. Caleb pressed him down. "Hold still, boy. Pain means you're still here." The word boy hit Caleb harder than he expected. For one moment, he did not see the stranger. He saw Samuel at 12, running barefoot through the yard, holding a small wooden horse he had carved with a dull knife. One ear of the wooden horse had been broken off. Samuel had laughed and said, "A horse don't need 2 good ears to run, Pa." Caleb had kept that wooden horse locked away, in the room at the end of the hall. The room no one entered. Not Mrs. Chen, not the preacher, not even Caleb. The stranger opened his eyes. They were gray, Mary's gray. Caleb stopped breathing. The man looked at him with fear and confusion. "Where am I?" Caleb's mouth went dry. "My ranch." "Who are you?" That question cut deep. Caleb leaned closer. "Name's Caleb Turner." The stranger stared at him. Nothing changed in his face. No memory. No shock. No sign. Caleb felt something break and harden at the same time. "What's your name?" The stranger swallowed. "Eli." "Eli what?" "I don't know." Caleb's eyes narrowed. "A man knows his own name." The stranger looked away. Not if other men gave it to him. A cold silence filled the room. Outside, the wind pushed sand against the windows. It sounded like fingernails scratching the glass. Caleb reached for his rifle, not to shoot Eli, not yet, but because Caleb did not like fear, and a rifle made fear quieter. Eli saw the move. "I didn't come to rob you." "No," Caleb said. "You came bleeding at my fence with a bullet in you. That's worse." Eli tried to sit up, but pain bent him back down. "They'll come before dark." Caleb's hand tightened on the rifle. "Who?" Eli looked toward the door. "The men who raised me," he said. "The Black Mesa Gang." Caleb knew that name. Every rancher in 3 counties knew it. They stole horses, burned farms, and left men hanging from dry trees. Caleb's voice dropped. "Why are they hunting you?" Eli looked at Caleb again, and this time his eyes were full of something close to shame. "Because I stole something from them." Caleb stepped closer. "Money?" Eli shook his head. "A map?" Another shake. Caleb's patience broke. "Then what?" Eli reached inside his torn coat with a shaking hand. Caleb lifted the rifle fast. "Slow," Caleb warned. Eli pulled out a small cloth pouch and dropped it on the table. Caleb opened it. Inside was a child's brass button. Old, scratched, burned at the edge. Caleb's face went pale. He knew that button too. It came from the blue coat Samuel had worn the day he disappeared. Caleb stared at Eli. The room seemed to tilt. The smell of whiskey and blood became too strong. Eli whispered. "The gang leader kept it locked in a box. He said it belonged to the boy they should have killed." Caleb's heart slammed once, then twice. Before Caleb could speak, a horse cried outside. Not his horse. Another one. Then another. Caleb moved to the window and looked through the dirty glass. 3 riders stood beyond the fence. One held a black flag tied to a rifle. Eli's voice shook behind him. "They found me." Caleb slowly turned toward the locked room at the end of the hall. For 25 years, Caleb had kept that door closed. Now the past was riding straight toward his house. And Caleb knew the only thing inside that room might prove whether Eli was a stranger or his dead son come home. Caleb Turner did not run from the window. He stood there with his rifle in his hands, while 3 riders waited outside his fence. The heat shook over them like clear fire. Their horses stamped the dry ground. One rider wore a black coat, even under the burning sun, and his face was hidden under a wide hat. Behind Caleb, Eli tried to sit up. "Don't," Caleb said. "You'll open that wound." Eli's voice was rough. "If they take me, I won't live till morning." Caleb looked at the locked room at the end of the hall. His hands felt cold, even though the house was hot as an oven. For 25 years, Caleb had kept that door shut. Now 3 killers stood outside, and the only truth Caleb needed was behind that door. A voice shouted from outside, "Old man, send the boy out, and we leave your house standing." Caleb's mouth tightened. "Boy," Eli looked down. Caleb turned slowly. "You said you didn't know who you were." "I don't," Eli said. "But they do." That answer hit Caleb like a punch. Outside, the black-coated rider laughed. "You got till sundown, Turner." Caleb froze. They knew his name. Eli saw Caleb's face change. "I didn't tell them." Caleb pointed the rifle at him. "Then how do they know me?" Eli's eyes filled with fear. "Because my whole life, they told me one thing. They said if I ever found a rancher named Caleb Turner, I should kill him before he killed me." The room went quiet. Only the flies buzzed near the bloody cloth on the table. Caleb's finger touched the trigger. Eli whispered, "I didn't come here to kill you. I came here to ask why your name was in my nightmares." Caleb wanted to hate him. Hating was easier. Hating kept the dead buried. But Eli's eyes were Mary's eyes, and that made Caleb's chest hurt so bad he could hardly breathe. Then someone knocked on the back door. Caleb swung the rifle around. "It's me!" a woman shouted. "Don't shoot your laundry woman." Mrs. Chen stepped inside, carrying a basket of wet clothes. She was small, sharp-eyed, and braver than most men Caleb knew. The clothes smelled of soap, sun, and river water. Caleb snapped. "You picked a poor time." Mrs. Chen looked at Eli. Then she looked at the riders outside. "No," she said. "I picked the right time." Caleb stared at her. "What do you know?" Mrs. Chen set the basket down. Her hands were red and cracked from washing clothes all day. "I know your son did not die the way they told you." Caleb's face went empty. Eli breathed. "What?" Mrs. Chen looked at Caleb with wet eyes. "My husband worked at the old trading post that night. He saw men take a child in a blue coat. He wanted to speak, but the gang threatened our family. Years later, before he died, he told me, "I tried to tell you, Caleb. You would not listen." Caleb's rifle lowered an inch. His fatal mistake stood in front of him now. He had pushed everyone away so hard that even truth could not reach him. Caleb's voice cracked. "Why now?" Mrs. Chen pulled a small brass key from her apron pocket. "Because Mary gave me this before she died. She said one day, 'When your anger got tired, I should help you open the room.'" Caleb looked at the key like it was a snake. Then the first gunshot hit the porch. Wood split. Eli fell from the table with a cry. Caleb moved fast. "Get down!" Mrs. Chen pulled Eli behind the stove while Caleb fired through the window. One rider dropped from his horse, screaming into the dust. The black-coated rider shouted, "Bring me the button, Eli. That boy belongs to me." Eli's face twisted. "That's Boone." Caleb knew the name. Boone Carter, leader of Black Mesa. Caleb growled, "No man owns another man's blood." Mrs. Chen shoved the key into Caleb's hand. "Open the room." Caleb ran to the hall. His boots hit the floor hard. His heart hit harder. The key turned. The door opened. Dust rolled out. The room smelled of old wood, dry cloth, and grief. On a small shelf sat the broken wooden horse. Caleb picked it up with shaking hands. One ear was still missing. Under it was a folded paper in Mary's handwriting. Caleb opened it. His eyes moved across the words. Then he stopped. The biggest secret was worse than he thought. Mary had known Samuel might be alive. She had begged Caleb to search one more town. But Caleb, broken and angry, had refused. He had believed the sheriff too quickly, because believing death hurt less than hoping. Caleb pressed the paper to his chest. Outside, Boone shouted, "Sundown is here, Turner." Caleb walked back with the wooden horse in his hand. Eli stared at it. His breathing changed. "Where did you get that?" Eli whispered. Caleb held it out. Eli touched the broken ear. His face went pale. "I remember. A barn, a woman singing, a man laughing because I carved it ugly." Caleb's eyes filled. "That man was me," Caleb said. Eli shook his head, tears cutting through dirt on his face. "I don't know how to be your son," Caleb's voice broke. "Then don't be him yet. Just stay alive." That was the moment something changed. Not everything, not all the pain, but enough. Eli took the wooden horse and held it like it could keep him from falling apart. Then Boone kicked open the front door. Caleb fired once, but Boone ducked and shot the rifle from Caleb's hand. The gun slid across the floor. Boone grinned. His teeth were yellow. His coat smelled of sweat and gun smoke. "That boy made me money," Boone said. "Fast hands. Cold nerve. I raised him better than you ever could." Eli stood, weak but steady. "You didn't raise me," Eli said. "You trained me to be afraid." Boone aimed at Caleb. "Move, boy." Eli stepped between them. Caleb's heart stopped. Then Mrs. Chen threw the wet laundry basket at Boone's face. Heavy wet cloth slapped over Boone's eyes. Eli grabbed Caleb's fallen rifle. Caleb pulled his old knife. Together, father and son rushed him. One shot fired into the ceiling, another into the floor. Then Caleb drove Boone back against the doorframe, and Eli struck him hard with the rifle stock. Boone fell. Outside, the last rider saw it and fled into the red evening dust. For a long moment, nobody moved. Then Caleb dropped to his knees beside Eli. Eli was bleeding again. Caleb pressed both hands to the wound. "Stay with me." Eli gave a weak smile. "You ordering me, old man?" Caleb laughed once, but it came out like a sob. "Yes." Mrs. Chen tied the wound with clean cloth, pulling tight. "Both of you are fools," she said. "But at least now you are fools together." Night came slowly. The desert cooled. Crickets began to sing. Boone was tied in the barn, waiting for the marshal. The house smelled of blood, soap, and burned gunpowder. Caleb and Eli sat on the porch. The wooden horse rested between them. Eli did not call him Pa. Caleb did not ask him to. Some wounds needed more than one night. But when Eli's hand shook from pain, Caleb placed his hand over it. Eli did not pull away. Caleb looked at the dark land and said, "I lost you once because I was too hurt to hope." Eli looked at him. "And I lived too long thinking love was a trap." Caleb nodded slowly. "Then we learn slow," Caleb said. Eli picked up the wooden horse and turned it in his hand. "A horse don't need two good ears to run," he whispered. Caleb closed his eyes. Mary's words. Samuel's laugh. The past and present touching like two tired hands. When Caleb opened his eyes again, dawn was still far away. But for the first time in 25 years, Caleb left the locked room door open, not because the pain was gone, because someone had come home carrying it with him. End of story.